I got some half-price cracked ice, miles and miles of carpet tiles, TVs, deep freeze, David Bowie LPs, ball games, gold chains, what's her name's an adder, push some Trevor Froze's track suits from a mushy shepherd's bush. No income tax, no VAT, no money back, no guarantee. Black or white, rich or poor, we'll cut prices at a stroke. God bless Hookie Street, viva Hookie Street, long live Hookie Street, say magnifique Hookie Street, magnifique Hookie Street, Hookie Street, Hookie Street. And that's how I spent my childhood. You're listening to the Russell Brand podcast with backing vocals from Matt Morgan and Mr. G on poetry. And what a podcast it's going to be for you. Possibly later we'll be talking to Noel Gallagher. We'll be talking about our new item, Telephone Neighbours. I'll be looking for a window into an adjacent studio, an attractive woman. What we're making here is podcasting history, Matthew.
Well, we're trying to, but there is an attractive woman through the glass.
It's a problem. It's a problem because we're in a subterranean booth in a facilities house. Like last week we did it at XFM. You prefer XFM?
Well, that's a bit awkward when there's people from... No, not at all. I love the guys.
You're so English. Do you think I'm typically English?
No.
I think you're so English.
That's good, isn't it? That
Yeah,
means
I love England, actually.
No, I mean, come on. I just mean, like...
Don't hurt
it's
their
putting
feelings.
me on the spot. But
I mean,
now it seems worse, because otherwise I'd have gone, no, I love it here. So I've obviously showed that, but they could win me over.
You can be won over, whereas my mind's made up.
What do you like?
I like the woman in the aquarium.
Yeah, but she's not going to be there all the time.
Right. Get out of this dump.
And she's putting you off because you can't stop looking at her.
So they're cutting some sort of football programme in the next booth. I don't know what's happening there. There's a woman, there's a man, and another woman. And I can see our own reflection. So there's a hell of a lot of distractions. Why don't we talk to some of the viewers, listeners, through what I call emails, digital letters. See, I know what I'm doing. If you want to communicate with us, why shouldn't you? At Russell and Matt at audioborm.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail if you want. Just find out that number for yourself. And you can upload your jingles like this one. Why don't we listen to a jingle, Matthew? Because it really establishes that we know what we're doing.
PODCAST, it's Russell and Matt and Mr. G podcast.
I like that. Who was that? That's
was-
talent. That's real talent, Matthew. That's a
was a
hip-hop
jingle
style.
by-
It's Ryan McDermott.
No.
Adelarks. Mellotron is a regular contributor of jingles, and I'd say a real gifted jingler.
Should we jingle on with another one?
Another jingle, sure.
You're listening to the Russell Brand Podcast.
Every Wednesday an audio boom, every Sunday an audio boom. With Matt Morgan and Mr. G, they're gonna shake the room, boom, shake the room.
No,
boom.
I don't like it.
Okay.
I think there's too much focus on the brand name, and I think it was. I think that it was supplied by Audio Boom themselves.
You could have been, actually, yeah.
That's like.
Where's our advertising this week?
What? We've no adverts on the
No
show.
adverts.
No one, like, you'd think me, a viable commodity. Here I am with Matt Morgan, one of the great voiceover artists, Mr. G, a fine poet. We can't sell nothing. Why don't we just do adverts for companies that haven't yet give us no money, and then they'll hear how good we are.
Well, let's think of
and
things
pay-
we actually like.
Sunblessed. Is that it's type of bread, isn't it?
You've fallen at the first hurdle.
What do you mean? We don't even want that. Crumpet. I tell you what I like. Crumpets.
Yeah, but that's not one... You can't have an advert for crumpets.
Are you a bit hungry? But you had enough of toast, really. Crumpets.
Do you eat crumpets?
I love a crumpet, mate.
Yeah.
Traditional English,
What are they
aren't they?
made of? It's like a weird sort of...
Gunk.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the sort of thing a human being shouldn't be eating. Okay, right, let's think
Well,
of a
that's
brand.
really bad advert for crumpets. Then.
Yoga classes.
Ah.
Why not I go to try yoga, to do some yoga, and it's quite bourgeois, but let's face it, everyone there's attractive, it's a nice vibe, everything smells of joss sticks.
I don't like the name Try Yoga, but I think they're missing the trick, because it's I know it's TRI, isn't it?
like three.
But it actually says, hey, Try Yoga! Oh, no. Falling over.
Oh, God, bloody hell, just stood on your dog. Yeah, no, you're right, it's a strange name.
Now, let's say that we haven't got any adverts because we kicked back against the corporate system. And
We
said,
don't
no,
have-
We don't want them.
They tried
They're
to give us
offering a lot of
adverts.
money, but
a
we
lot
said
of bread,
no.
a lot of dollars, a lot of crumpets, but we turned it down. You can email us at russell&matt@audioboom.com. Some people have already done exactly that, like this person, Connie. Hello, you strapping boys. Love having you back. We've missed Morgansky with the heat of 1,000 suns. Quick question. What's the worst trick, practical joke anyone has ever played on you? My friend once had a poo in my bathroom sink. I don't see how that's a...
That's not a practical joke, is it?
Not
That's
a practical joke. That's a dirty protest. I don't see that as The practical joke is there's got to be a revelation, hasn't there? Have you done any on me? Have we done any on each other?
No, because you wouldn't react well to them.
Yeah.
It'd just be an awful, awkward atmosphere.
Because of my
But I don't
temperament.
like them. I don't like it.
I don't like anything upsetting me, upsetting my flow, my rhythms.
Yeah.
Over the years, you've observed me. I'm a sensitive man, Matt, aren't I? And you think, even still, after all these years away from each other, coming back together to make these podcasts, still very easy to get in a state of tension if we're not very careful with each other, isn't it?
Yes.
Because you think I'm intense.
You're a little intense.
I'm an intense guy. And what do I basically think about you?
I'm English. Too English.
Too English.
I was once walking through Camden and there was a £20 note on the floor.
Uh-oh.
And I saw it and I thought, someone else is going to see that, someone else is going to see that. And I put my foot on the corner of it, and then when I bent down, it moved. And I went for it. And it was on a wire. Film students, there's footage of that somewhere.
If you are
I was
those
such
film
a weasel
students...
about it.
Did you really? Why, scurrying along?
I was like, I'm going to get that, no one's seen it. Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
When they sort of went, oh, mate, thanks for that. I was like, oh, yeah, guys. I saw the camera ages ago.
I was just playing along.
Can we burn the tapes?
I was just joshing. Funny, eh? What people do for money. Right, yeah. I don't like being pranked very much at all, actually. But, like, I mean, I'd sooner focus on the defecation aspect of the story, Matt, and tell you that Splash Palace pool pooper has struck again.
Oh, no.
A mystery pool pooper, or poopers, has struck again in Invercargill swimming pool. I believe that's in New Zealand. Hello to anyone that's listening in New Zealand. I've been there before. I like your country. I respect you. It's the 6th Friday in a row someone has defecated in a swimming pool at the centre. Odd to defecate only on a Friday, like it's a
Not
fish
if you're
supper.
only there on a Friday.
Uh-huh,
I mean,
so-
that's already narrowed down the search, hasn't it?
The suspects, looking for suspects, looking for clues. You're looking for someone who only goes on Friday, okay? So it would be nice if we could crack the case of the Palace pool pooper. It's
Is that their headline?
Splash Palace pool pooper strikes again. Yeah, that's the headline. So, okay. So we need people in New Zealand to... let's just try and whittle away at this stool until all that's left is a nub of truth.
We have an item where everyone goes there on a Friday to do a poo to cover for the person.
Let's back up the pool pooper. Let's support this brave pool pooper. I myself, I have not ever defecated in a swimming pool.
Yes, you have.
Have I?
Well, jacuzzi.
Well, that was urine.
No, it wasn't. It had bits in it. If that's your urine, then you should be very
What
worried.
do you mean? When did I poo? Hold
You
on a
used to do
second.
stand-up about it. You got into a jacuzzi with a girl and then shat yourself.
No, well, let's hold on. What you've done there, Matthew, is you, like a typical tabloid newspaper sub-editor, you've removed context. I was allowing the jet to go near my private parcel round the rear.
So that's worse than what I said.
It relaxed it eventually. Tuscan bean soup.
Eventually.
That tight knot of rage eventually yielded, and yeah, it did actually. I mean, the girl that I was with didn't. It was at Champneys Spa. This was when I was a younger man, 10 years ago. I saw Frank Bruno while I was there.
This is a good advert for Champneys.
Champneys,
The
whether it's
jacuzzi's full of shit. Frank Bruno's there.
crying in the lobby. Why not try Champneys, whether it's desperation and failed dreams of a great athlete or human feces? There's something for everyone. Champneys. They shut the spa at night, probably to stop troublemakers, but I snuck in, didn't I? I snuck
I've
in
done
by
that
the
at night
changing
into
room.
swimming pool. You know what? They put chemicals in there overnight.
Well, I put feces in there overnight. Fight fire with fire. That's the Chicago way, I
Yeah, but
say.
I did that once and then found out later that they put loads of harsh chemicals in overnight.
You've always been a bit of a wrongdoer, a bit of a strayer from the path of righteousness around late night pools, of course, because it was you that jumped on the swimming pool cover, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
When we were staying on the Isle of Wight, when we were hooking up with our
Yeah.
pal David Icke.
Well, I jumped on it and then it broke and then I fixed it.
You didn't fix it.
Well, I got the man to fix it and I...
You went down the wrong road.
Yeah.
That was the wrong road. That was known as the wrong road of Matthew Morgan. A night of...
On the same holiday where you were sleeping with the cleaner. I was going down the wrong road.
I didn't sleep with the cleaner.
She must be dead now because that was... she was getting on a bit then, wasn't she?
I merely cuddled her in the face with my waist. And if that's not loving, a waist-face cuddle on the Isle of Wight. Back in days, as you know, back then I was very, very mentally unstable. This is not the proud man who stands before you now. So I think that you were the worst behaved on that holiday.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, I
And let
lifted
off a
that
fire
woman's
extinguisher.
morale. You let off a fire extinguisher, whereas I gave something back to the community.
You've raised her stakes so high, she'll never match them.
I mean,
She's on the Isle of Wight as a cleaner. She suddenly's having sex with a Hollywood star.
there's Ike lives on the island. Ike might put out. There's Parkhurst Prison. There's sort of one. The Crays were temporarily there. Like I should just I would say to that lady, work with what you can, and apologies if there were for any trouble that I've caused you, either emotionally. Should we go back to the feces
Yes.
story?
Yes, please.
Our first love. In the first instance of the first case of the palace pooper, a smidgen of faeces was discovered in the leisure pool. A smidgen.
So a smidgen sounds like a little smudge of it, not like a solid floating bit.
I don't see how a smidgen can exist in liquid.
It can't.
Because a smidgen sounds like a smear. It sounds like it needs a solid to interact with. So perhaps a nugget or a gobbin or a
pellet.
A pellet is. I would accept that there could be a pellet. Was discovered in the leisure pool at the Splash Palace Aquatic Centre at 4:30. Aquatic Centre manager Pete Thompson said the mode is dissimilar to anything else we have had.
What? The mode?
What's a
How
mode?
do they know the mode of it?
The mode? I don't know. Like it? What? The standard, the genre, the oeuvre. This mode of communication is not like something we've experienced before. It's dissimilar to anything else we've had. It was a very tiny 10-cent piece size, which suggests it probably came out of a baby's nappy. 10-cent piece size. It's been really analysed. A second of faeces was found later. The learner's pool was closed at 6 p.m. when it was discovered. Thompson said the second faeces was extremely frustrating. How do you prove something is deliberate unless you catch them in the act? Thompson noted. Some sort of coordinated attack is going on around the country. Darryl Gray, who was watching his grandson in the water, said dozens of kids were in the leisure pool when it was done. The man came along, spotted something in the pool and came back with his pooper scooper net. Then he closed the pool. The pool was so busy it would be nearly impossible to spot the culprit, he said. The pool complex had cameras, but not high definition enough to pick up the red face of someone squinting, said Thompson. So even CCTV is no weapon against this kind of criminal ingenuity. So
That's
there we
gross.
are. I mean, I suppose we don't want to dwell too long on the subject matter of unusual places because it drags us into the gutter, and we're people that are quite capable of talking, for example, about, I don't know, Baudelaire, John Genet. That's just two French poet
Yeah,
names.
but there's probably a higher level to take that sort of story too.
What, like it's situationism? It's a form of protest.
It might be a form of protest. It might be someone who, it might be an immensely liberating moment of anarchy for someone.
Have
Maybe
you
it's a
ever
small-
felt similarly liberated?
No, I'm very retentive, so that would be the word.
Whereas I'm quite expressive.
You're very expressive. So that, you'd probably be able to do that. Swim off and then go, oh no, look!
Yeah, I think I could if the cause was right, if I was doing it for justice or something. Well, I mean, I suppose, should we try to move into an area that's sort of
let's
more
go
high
high.
calibre?
Yeah.
Let's go high, we can do it. This is from Pete G in Paynton. You wanted to read this, I think, mate. Is this the police one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, come on,
I
you
like
read this, Matthew.
Okay, let me find it.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, thank you. There we go. This is who we're backed by now.
The police!
The State. Hello, Russell, Matt and G. I am what can only be described as a mega fan. I work as a police officer, and for the past 5 years, I have used your podcast at the end of the day to relax my mind after particularly stressful shifts, so I can actually get to sleep. It's good to see you haven't lost your intellectual yet juvenile nature, poo in the swimming pool, despite getting older. I think you've also regained your underground gritty vibe, which is an achievement. To think you're both living your lives on the same island as me is a concept I find strange. So if you read this email out, it will momentarily connect our lives, which would be a weird experience. Pin, pin, belly bounce.
I like that man's
Pete
reached
G.
out. Thanks,
Yeah.
Pete G. Officer Pete G.
Officer G.
He's a policeman. Do you,
How would that relax you? This can't be relaxing.
at the end of a long shift fighting crime in Paynton, the last thing I'd want to listen to is this kind of codswallop unfurling.
I'd listen to classical music and
So
have a
would I.
bath.
So would I. Absolutely. I wouldn't allow this into my life.
But it's nice that, there's a range of people enjoying our work.
Yeah, it is, because I think we should embrace the police. I met some people called the Kindness Offensive the other day. The Kindness Offensive, they're a charitable organisation. They're going around in a psychedelic bus spreading kindness where they can, using occupied buildings to set up charitable endeavours. They get corporations to give them vacant buildings and they use them how they will. The Kindness Offensive fella, like I went in their bus, they'd done it up as inside it was done up like a 50s diner. Right. Inside of a typical London,
no,
they don't. They. I think they're volunteers. These people. I still don't fully understand what was going on. They took me inside. Like I was just driving up from Holloway Prison, women's prison, where I hadn't been, and then and on the way. I mean, no, I was just drifting past the prison. I was just using the prison, Holloway Women's Prison, as a reference point. And,
right.
And any of those of you that listen to us behind a door, doing time inside.
Can you have the internet when you're in prison?
Yep, if you can get the phone up your arse. Then
what were you delivering?
Respect.
Phones then?
Yep, delivering phones and contraband. No, obviously I wouldn't. I mean, but that's one of the great questions. How do you keep drugs out of prison? How do you keep contraband out of prison? You don't. Can't be done, can it, G?
It can't be done.
I'm surprised it can be done.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's what
that people can get drugs in prison.
You got a hat. So I mean, mostly Matt, the great unsayable is it must be the screws and prison workers that are taking it in there to have it in there in such quantities. So it's institutionalised. It shows that even in the microcosm of a prison, you can't control drugs, and it comes down to corruption.
What if they just drug tested everyone every morning?
I mean, probably when it comes to the crunch, you don't want everyone to be off drugs in prison because it probably keeps people a bit more relaxed. You don't want everyone too agitated. On the wing, on the landings.
What if they're all coked up?
Coked up, last thing you need, troublemaking, unless they're using that energy down the chim. Do you think we'd do well in prison, Matt, you and I?
In the same cell, or?
I would prefer to be with you than a stranger.
Sexually, or?
I mean, I think we would just pass the time, wouldn't we, like making chess pieces out of soap?
I don't know what I'd do. Read books and work out. Although they tried to ban books in prison,
That's out of order, isn't it?
That is disgusting.
Stopping people having access to education.
Why would you do that?
We could do podcasts from in there. Why don't we do a prison podcast? G, could you sort that out for us?
Yeah, definitely.
There you go. G has just pledged podcast from a prison. What, like Brixton?
Yeah.
Brixton Prison. What if we come live from Brixton Prison? Don't you think that would be a positive thing to do?
Yes.
Do you think we'd be unnerved while we're there?
No, it'd be all right,
We'll be fine, wouldn't we?
Cavity check.
Huh?
The cavity check.
Cavity check, no problem. I'll do my own cavity check on the way in, on the way out, and during the show. I'll be checking away at those cavities near enough incessantly. Anyway, those people, the Kindness Offensive, they told me that they can reach within people's... like they sort of said that when they're getting corporate sponsorship, like they do, they got 100 grand off Nestle, for example, they say that they can reach in beyond the person, the way you present yourself. Like, say with anyone. Say you had met, like, Rupert Murdoch or David Cameron or people that you would typically consider to be forces for evil on the planet. They go, like, well, no, just talk to people like it's the part of them that's beautiful. Like, and they said that when they're getting these sponsorships, they just go, look, come on, mate. You know.
How do they get the meeting? How do they get in there?
I don't know how, because really, when I met them, they were just guys with a colourful bus, but they've given £6.5 million worth of charitable donations since 2008. They've met up with Boris Johnson. They've got, they've got all of this real estate all over London. The Kindness Offensive. They're very interesting.
But do people like Nestle give the money so that they can say it publicly?
Yeah, basically,
so
yeah, it's basically PR. But I said to him, why would you do that? And he goes, well, look, everyone's saying we want these corporations to change, and here they are changing. Like, you can't close that door to them. Like, let them change. And they said that we sort of talk to people in this sort of way of like, come on, you know that's not the real you, but just come on, let's do this thing, like reaching through. And I said, is that one of the tenets of charisma? What is that thing of like trying to, like, whoever it is you're dealing with, whether it's like a policeman like that was listening to us, or it's like, like that. I've always thought myself, like, I want to reach beyond the thing that people are just giving you, that sort of autopilot way that we go through the day, the kind of zombie version of life. Like in that film Sixth Sense, they're already dead. That metaphor of like, really, are we unless we're interacting in the moment, we're not alive anymore. Unless we're present and spontaneous, we're just routinely trudging through the day. Like, to reach into that part of person. Do you think you could ever do it? Because I've always been greatly optimistic. I remember when I had that homeless person living with me that, yes, he did eventually leave because he couldn't stand me and preferred homelessness to being with me. That's a side note. But like, I goes like, You know, like he could have another chance in life. He could have another chance in life. He could get a job in a garden centre. And you went, no, you just get a phone call saying that like he disappeared and someone had nicked some shovels.
Yeah.
You know, like
But he was a special case in the sense that he'd given up. Like he had those leg wounds, or like sort of like infected
ulcers.
ulcers on his legs. And we took him to the doctor, got him the tablets, and he didn't take the tablets. So he just didn't have any preservation of himself apart from sort of getting drugs and. So I wonder if I think something had happened to him that has broken him, so the point of where he wouldn't work at a garden centre. I think this is good. £5 an hour.
Look at these gnomes, they're delightful. Beautiful spider plant.
But there are people who that would, an opportunity would change their lives.
Because why is it that we can't get people to tune into the ultimate reality of we're all basically in the same condition, we've got kidneys and lungs and infinite space and all of that. And like the thing I'm always harping on about these days, mate, is like whatever it is that makes your heart beat and your body create white blood cells, most of the things that happen in your anatomy are happening entirely unconsciously. The seat of the consciousness, such a limited part of the being. I might go to a bus stop. Shall I put a hat on? The decisions we actually make are a tiny fragment of our actual existence, and then that happens within the broader context of nature. So I wonder why we can't find more common ground. I wonder why people are so frequently caught up in selfish, illusory things.
You sent me that thing about how rich people are less kind and give less to charity percentage.
Yeah, you owe me £5 for that, actually.
Yeah. But, people, it seemed to suggest that, say life's like a game and they're winning the game, it makes them sort of dislike the people who aren't winning it.
You're right.
And they move further and further away. And then I suppose once you're rich, you want to protect yourself from people who aren't rich. And so it's like, that's why, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It's like this divisive thing. But then the hope from that was that they spent time with them, and after a while you break down the fact that they're rich and their humanity comes out, and then they were quite nice in the games. They were given money, weren't they, and give a percentage to... I think they were given $10 and they were told there's someone else in this game. And so, if you're nice, you'll take $5 and give them $5. If you're really nice... borderline stupid, you'll give them $10. But they pretty much just go, but I'll have $10.
Why wouldn't I take $10?
Why wouldn't I take all of it, And
Get out
once
of
they
here.
spent time with them and sort of humanised the other person, they'd give them more money.
The compassion is there in most cases. Another thing they did is they had someone at a zebra crossing and they noted the number of cars that would stop or slow down, and cars over a certain value wouldn't stop or slow down. Cheap cars would more generally stop and slow down than expensive cars.
So that's just because you play the role, so you're I'm driving a nice car. Out of my way.
Get out of my way, you squares. I'm in a lovely... Oh, here I go with my jalopy.
And it was against the law to not stop, wasn't it? It's like in LA, I think it was, in California. So you have to stop if someone's at a crossing. So they weren't just being cruel, they're breaking the law.
Feel that the rules don't
above the law.
They think these people think they're above the law, these people. Well, so there is some sort of unifying essence within us. It's just very difficult to communicate with that. We tend to tune into different aspects of ourselves. Over the course of any day, I can find... What I'm trying to do is not take... I'm trying to give over responsibility of everything. This is what I'm trying to do. I mess up all the time, just think, right, the decisions I make and the thoughts I have are of pretty much no value at all. I'm just going to just drift through life and just, whatever presents itself, go with it. And then I always forget that I'd said that this morning, and I just start sort of barking.
Where's my blanket?
Blanket, please! Come on, hurry up! Fuck you!
Yeah.
It's hard to maintain that kind of space, but I'd value any input from a listener. Why don't you do a jingle, Matthew, to provide a bit of division?
The Russell Brand Podcast. In demand and on demand. Available exclusively to Audio Boom.
Fuck off.
Who's doing that funny voice?
Why are they, focused on that?
Tom Comey, that was.
One of the ways that you could... one of the ways that we could reach across this divide is through a little game that was invented by a very bright young man called Matt Morgan.
Ah, yes.
Now, that game was Telephone Neighbours, which encouraged people to ring the person adjacent to them in the telephone world. Add one digit to your phone number. Brilliant original idea. Brilliant original comic thinker. A sort of an unrecognised hero of British comedy in many ways, Matt Morgan.
Okay, I know what you're doing.
He's lived too long in my shadow, this great original comic...
Well, no, look, I thought it was an original idea. I Googled it to see if it was, taking the nation by storm. It wasn't. But there was one tweet about it. No, it was on Twitter I was searching on. There was one tweet, and it was about this thing, a craze in Belgium, right? Called whatever the Belgique is for, or the Belgian for.
Belgique. That's a croissant factory.
I know. For it's not French, it's Belgian. Yeah. Telephone
They
neighbours.
speak French or Flemish in Belgium.
Telephone frienden or whatever it is. It exists.
The Belgians have been doing it for ages.
It's got the same name, and it's add one to your phone number.
Your whole
So
concept
I think
that you're a plagiarist.
No. What I think is like
been
when
stealing from the
nylon
Belgian-
was invented simultaneously
yeah.
in New York
All
and
right, mate.
London,
Yeah.
hence getting the name
Yeah, nylon, New York and
Yeah?
London.
It's
Yeah.
that. It's one of
Telephone
those.
neighbours then.
It shows how important it is. It's as important as your nylons, Russell.
What's your next idea? Tintin? What's your next idea? Chocolates? Argandals? No, that's not them, is it? Hogarden? Stella Artois? I'm just going to list all the
They're
Belgian
French.
things I know, and
That's
there
not
ain't that
Belgian.
many. Poirot?
Well,
That's
there you
it.
go. See, there's loads of things being invented here. So who do we trust? Me
Or a
From
Belgian?
a country of inventors?
A
Or
nation.
Tintin?
Bloody Tintin. Yeah, I'm with you. So the Belgians have reverse plagiarised you
Yeah.
again. Anyway, the telephone neighbours has been, well, it may not show up on the internet except in the region of, what is in Belgium?
Twitter.
What's
It was on Twitter.
Belgium? What's that? Maastricht, is that Belgium?
Oh my God, Brussels.
Brussels. Yeah, Brussels. I'm like, this is like one of
Bruges.
those tests when they go, we asked 100 people to identify the Prime Minister, and none of them could, and one of them was Russell Brand. What an idiot. Yeah, I didn't know
There was
one
that thing
Belgian
in the
town.
paper this week about identifying English towns.
Yeah.
But it said these top English towns. So I thought, well, the top ones are London, Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool. But I was completely wrong. I got London and Birmingham right, but one was Sheffield.
That's a top town.
Well, yeah, but it was just like they are big places, and most English people can't can't place them on a map.
On a map, don't
Yeah.
know where they are. I think I'd know.
Yeah, well, you've toured a lot, haven't
I've
you? Toured this great land.
Some people, though, have been affected in a positive way by telephone neighbours, people that probably didn't know that you stole it from Belgium, like Will here. I rang my telephone neighbour and the recipient was a man called Damien. He sounded Irish, so it's likely I was charged for an international call. I would appreciate a reimbursement. He was a nice guy, we were quite civil, I don't think we'll keep in touch. At first he said I'm tired, and then he cursed. So there you go. Lace Ramel, you guys are a classic. I always look forward to hearing your randomness. Have you thought of trying international telephone neighbours? Anyway, time well spent. Look forward to more. Psst, Matt, is Russell a personal space invader? Hey, love you guys. Lacey Ramel. Am I a personal space invader?
Not so much as you used to be, but you were
Yeah.
a loomer.
Yeah, I used to loom. Yeah, loom a bit. I don't loom so much these days. You boys, balls, she says in brackets, Mascao, are getting better and better. I've texted my telephone neighbour. I'm yet to hear back. You light up my life. That's from Fuzzpot
I
Farm.
heard
That's
that
nice.
a lot of people actually use their telephone neighbour when they, when you fill in a form and you think, I don't want to give them my real number.
Yeah.
They add one to it. So apparently some people are scared to get in touch with them because
Right.
there'll be that. It's a backlog.
I see. Telephone neighbours can be used for wrong as well as right. Some people here say lovely version of Birds of a Feather theme. They're going to just love our Fools and Horses one we've just done. Oh dear. Telephone neighbours reminds me of when I was little and rang random 0800 numbers from the phone box with my mates and asked them weird stuff till they hung up. I think it could catch on. So in a way, Matt, I think that we can't conclude that telephone neighbours, whilst being plagiarised, is an absolute failure because
I think it's going to build.
yeah.
It's the sort of thing that, you just need to keep pumping away at it.
I'd like someone to be like. It's a shame that none of us could successfully conjure up a telephone neighbour between us.
Yeah, but let's not let that kill the item.
I tried, as you know,
Yeah, I
quite
tried.
hard to call
Well, I
the
added
telephone.
a few numbers because, like I said, my wife is my neighbour. But I don't know. How do they come up with numbers? There's not just a machine that does the next number.
Well, I do. To be honest, Matthew, I think it's really very bloody difficult to spot any kind of system in such a
Yeah,
thing.
they're just random.
There's no rhyme nor reason to it. Have you done anything over the course of this week that you want to bring to this podcast?
Let me look at my phone. I'm sure I've done something.
Because I have. I've opened a cafe out of sheer justice. I've met kind people.
Yeah, talk about your calf. I want to know about this. I remember you talking about it, and I thought that'll never happen.
It's
No,
opening.
happened.
It's opening on tomorrow, and it's people in recovery from addiction are going to work there. I mean, how do you run a cafe really? And I don't know how anyone does anything. Getting anything done is so bloody hard. Getting like the graft involved in getting something
Well, what's
Just
that?
opened-
Actually, was it you built a calf from scratch?
It was an empty unit. I've obviously not picked up so much as a trowel. I've done nothing at all. I just mooch around there a bit. So like, I try and act like I'm... when I'm walking around a building site, you know how to act. You've seen it on the television. Put a hard hat on, mooch around, nodding a lot, hands
Would you
crossed behind
turn
your
up
back.
like the governor?
Yeah.
There's a lot of mugs on that table. Try and get those picked up, please. You'll be back on the street in a week.
Yeah, like that I am.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you go round there?
I've been round there, yeah, every day of the weekend. Well,
so
it's
it's
2
like,
days.
When's it actually? It opens on Thursday, doesn't
Yeah.
it? We're all going to go down there.
Yeah, you're going to
I
come?
might do, yeah.
You won't come. I bet you
I've
don't.
tried to move Miss Diary around so I can come down there.
Yeah, I'd like it if you
Watch
did.
it.
Yeah, it'd be
Gonna
nice.
be there.
I don't have to give a speech because
Oh, no, you've got to give a speech.
you've made me give speeches in a lot of difficult
Aren't you gonna
situations.
smash a bottle of champagne on the side of it? Or do you think that's bad?
Might as well
poor
burn a
taste?
crack pipe in the doorway. You made me give speeches at my stag do. I didn't want to do that.
Where? What?
You
When?
said I had to give a speech. You said it'd tie the evening together. It was a disaster.
What, in that strip club?
No, Matthew. I seem to. Well, we did go to a strip club, and that was morbid and depressing. But prior to that, we were in a simple restaurant, and you said, "Give a speech. It will tie things together."
Well, I was drunk.
Well, it
I
didn't
do that.
tie things together,
I like
did
that when you
it?
tap on a glass and say
Speech. Yeah, I know you love that.
Unless it's your do.
Person that's supposed to do the speech. Great speeches we gave at your wedding, both
Brilliant.
of us. We both did very well. And yet, have I seen the video? No video
we haven't
sent.
seen the video.
On a further note, I'd like to. Who's the name of that 10-year-old girl?
What?
The 10-year-old girl is like your wife's niece or something.
My niece, Ashley.
Ashley. I really liked her. Great kid, lovely dancer. She's got rhythm. But she made me dance on the dance floor, and I really got into it. And everyone else was... Well, there's a lot of people mooching about dancing. Then Ashley got bored and stopped dancing and drifted off, and then I had to carry on dancing alone. And what's more is that our friend Hannah, who we work with, who looks after Matt, saw me...
She's not a carer.
Yeah, come on. She looks up your little putt-putt. She saw me and she went, "You had to carry on dancing there, didn't you? After that little kid abandoned you." And like that, I hoped that no one had seen, but she had seen.
I hate that sort of thing.
When,
When I was younger, I was in a club. And
What
I know,
kind?
Can you believe it? I was in a similar sort of situation, and then to cover that gap where some girls had walked away from me dancing,
Yeah.
I grabbed my pint and drank it, and it was full of cigarette butts. And I starved it out.
no, that's difficult, isn't it? So the embarrassment led
I
to
went-
further
I felt
embarrassment.
these things bumping against my lip, and I thought, oh no, oh god, and I took a mouthful of it.
You don't want nothing bobbing against your lip unless you're having a fruit punch.
Yeah,
That's the only
Sangria.
Sangria, that's all right. A bit of lip bobbins. I don't even
Yeah.
like the salty rim of a margarita.
hello.
There were. I was dancing with some orphans in a Hare Krishna temple.
I was dancing with children. We will be doing this show from a prison soon.
I was dancing with some. Get us some advertisers, Dan. I can get adverts. Drink.
Water.
Artizer. You could have. That'd be
I'll tell you,
nice.
I could do one for Ocado.
Go on.
Because they do, you know, the food delivery people. are sort of-
Ocado.
I think it's part
They're
of
not even
Waitrose.
part of Waitrose.
Aren't they?
No, because I asked the delivery man once. I was chatting to him.
Oh, so you've used them as well. And how did you find the service?
He was not at my house. He was just
doing it.
He was just down the street, and I goes to him,
right.
"Mate, are you affiliated with Waitrose? Do they let you use your phone?" Because a Sainsbury's bloke told me that his employers didn't let him take his mobile phone in his van. Because that's a bit out.
What?
Although you're a grown man, but. Yeah, to stop them messing around the phone, they give him a work phone for emergency numbers.
Well, I don't think that's that bad. I've got a phone. Otherwise, they'd just be sitting there texting. They
Why
might be
not
late.
text?
Well, why are
Bit
you
of
standing
fun.
up for the common man all the time?
I love the
Well,
common
my
man.
shopping's late. No, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
like,
you like
Ocado, right? You
Ocado,
can
do
get
you?
organic veg box, right? You know, we were saying we're all disconnected from nature. Well, I get an organic veg box.
Yeah,
and it's
delivered
all-
by a van. That's not very
So
organic.
what?
Go
I
and
don't
dig
care
it
about
up.
the carbon footprint. What I'm saying is, it's got all the right minerals in it because it hasn't been grown. You know, the earth that we grow mass-produced food in. It's got
Yeah.
no magnesium left in it. It's
No
all
magnesium now.
no. So
Balls
this
up.
stuff's good. It's organic and it's like local and it's like in season. So it hasn't been. So actually, it's not like brought from another country.
And the shitting bees are all getting pissed off.
Yeah, what's happened to the bees? Don't you know about that?
Yep, I know about the bees. It's because of they put pesticides deep in the soil, and so the bees will grow up to be idiots. It's all right, it's all right. No bees. I wouldn't mind.
Hang on, you started talking about dancing with children in India.
I was dancing with some
As soon
children.
as the legal side of it came up, you changed the subject.
Actually, I better back off on this one. They were orphans anyway, so what are they going to do? No, I was dancing with some. I was dancing with some orphans in a temple in India, and at first, I was with the Hare Krishnas. I was in a Hare Krishna village. It was great, mate. You'd have loved it. When I arrived, everyone was singing like the Hare Krishna versions of Christmas carols. All day were dressed up in blankets. I was dressed in a blanket. We arrived in the village at night, and they were like all singing Hare Krishna Christmas carols. I thought
They don't celebrate Christmas, do they?
well, whatever it is, like, whatever it is they're into, they were singing about it.
No,
and
right,
it was
okay.
around Christmas.
They were singing songs.
That's some songs. That's some mate songs. It's like a Christmas carol, but don't get confused. It's not Christmas, it's about Wednesday.
Michael Jackson done a lot of Christmas carols, and they weren't about Christmas. That's all. Mine was about zombies.
Now, one of Michael Jackson's best Christmas carols, it was about a special time of Christmas when the zombies, they come up out of the ground, all over the garden they was. Love it. Happy Christmas, Michael, one and all. I arrived there in the village, and they greeted me. Now, say Indiana Jones, all right?
Indiana Jones.
He's arrived in a village. The children of the village, the villagers, the ladies with the headscarves on, they love Indy, don't they?
Are you seeing yourself as Indy?
Yeah, in this one, I'm Indy.
You wouldn't have a blanket on. He had a leather jacket, a hat, and a whip.
I'm talking about the women. They've got the blankets on.
Oh, okay.
And me, yeah. I
With
did
a
also.
blanket
Yeah,
on?
I did have
Yeah.
a blanket on. Fair enough, fair enough. But I was in India. I was trying to fit in.
Okay.
Then they took us to everything there on that village was ecologically sound. All the solar energy panels providing all the electricity, waste neutral, meaning even the human faeces goes back into the soil. And first of all, I was like, well, that's impressive. That's bloody impressive that even your wee and it goes back into the soil and is being used for
Where the food's grown.
They showed me the papaya plants, what they were calling poo-paya, in a sort of a joke, a religious people joke. You know, religious people do a joke like a vicar or whatever.
We sometimes playfully call it a poo-pie.
Oh, great.
Because it tastes of shit and it's made of shit.
I keep this one in my bottom.
Yeah, go on.
They showed me the poo-paya area. And, far from marvelling at the ingenuity of a waste-neutral ecological system, I just thought...
You spat out your papaya and went, oh, you're sick!
Doing? You pikeys, man! You mean you're eating shit? Go and get me a Burger King! Yeah, I did
I think you could say
recoil.
that word.
Apologies to anyone who's offended by that. That was outers. That's bang outers, me doing that.
Well,
And
no,
it's-
where we grew up, both of us, that
was
meant-
normal.
It just meant cheap, didn't it? I didn't know that
Yep.
was a derogatory term for
to Irish travelling folk, and
Didn't know it.
I'll donate some money to them. All of the advertising revenue from this week's show is going to traveller communities. Just by way of apology.
Yeah,
I do
well,
apologise.
exactly.
I shouldn't be racist. I've got to learn my bloody
No, you
lesson.
weren't racist.
What is it I am again?
Everyone's so touchy these days.
Uh-oh. Right now.
I'm not sticking up for Clarkson. I think he's racist.
There I was, dancing with the orphans down the temple. No, I was very impressed by some of the things. Cows, lovely friendly cows to cuddle up to. Nice, meditating, chanting. Then 4 o'clock in the morning. No, this was a night time. We did there was a sort of a festival ceremony. I got a night. They gave a speech about me and that I'm nice, like one of the priests did.
Right.
And then there was a bit where
Because hang on.
butter
what do
me
you
up,
mean?
I suppose.
Oh, right, to you, sort of thing.
Yeah, everyone was there. All the monks. I see where the monks live.
No, look, this bloke's all right, guys. He's nice.
No, he's all right.
That
He's one
sort
of
thing.
us. Yeah, that's it. There was a bit where I goes to look at the monks' quarters. I goes to one monk, where do you sleep? And he went over there and done a gesture. And I thought he was pointing at a doorway down which there'd be a corridor. And at the end of that corridor, perhaps there'd be a bed. But actually, what he was pointing at was a bit of wall and a bit of floor. And that's what he slept on. Is
Really?
that bit of floor by the wall.
What, because of his,
He's a monk.
that's what they do?
If you're a monk, you basically just knock everything on the head.
Really?
None of them, no monkey business. You eat simple foods. You recognise that everything you were pursuing was pointless. Go and have a kip on the floor by the wall. Get up, meditate. I mean, they seem happy. They're saying, you're going to lose everything when you die. Don't get involved with it. It's a complete waste of time. You're only going to get down in the dumps when it don't work for you. Chasing after dreams, chasing after money, chasing after all of these various forms of illusion. Go and kip on the floor by a wall.
Do they have a little thin mattress or anything?
This
'Cause
guy just had a mosquito net and a blanket.
That's pretty hardcore.
I mean, that is you believe in God then, and you can't argue that. He seemed pretty happy. He was clever as well, really clever. He was only a young bloke, probably younger than me. He was like 30 probably, and he's really... He knew the score. Good chat.
What do you sleep on as a visitor?
You get an all right room. It's not that good though. It's like a single bed, and all of the bricks in the room are made out of I don't know, some sort of thing that ain't had to go in a kiln. like bricks.
Mud.
That's them. Then they do like Christmas carols, right? And then their shoes, they're like ice skating boots, but like not with the blade on the bottom.
Why were you there? Is it a holiday thing?
Well, I was in India, yeah. I was just going around India, wasn't I? We're at the festival, just at the there was a festival dancing bit. They tried to get me to dance, and I noticed they were filming. I thought, I don't want to be filmed dancing. Still recoiling from the memory of Matt's wedding, being tricked into dancing by that 10-year-old who then just abandoned me and left me. Like, and the adults wanted to dance. I thought, no. And then the children came over and, come on. And then it was a bit like Indiana Jones. I see too much of my life through the filter of Indiana Jones films. I recognise that now, particularly as Indiana Jones films didn't really ever centre on Indiana dancing with children. I don't know if that's ever in it. I mean, he was in temples, wasn't he? The Temple of Doom, for example, he went to. But then that was dancing was peripheral to the plot. If
it wasn't central, was it?
No way. There wasn't like he didn't have to dance to get that pebble
it was
back.
More of him just punching people,
punching Mola Ram
them once, and then they just never get back up again.
Cracking the whip,
a stupid noise going.
Crack, yeah, a lot of sound effects. Now, I danced with those children. I lost it in the end. I like,
God.
You know, there's a point of dance where you don't know what you're doing. No, there's
that's good, isn't it? You lost yourself in the dark. I thought you meant you lost it. Went, right, get out!
You bloody orphans! No wonder your parents are dead! No, too much? Too much?
No.
Yeah, but the orphans aren't here, and that was a comical character doing that.
Yeah, no,
and that comical character was I Am. Well, so I danced, like, it was amazing, actually. I invented a dance move that I like to think might live on in the temple community to this day, where I was doing, like, I thought the way to dance with these children is to act out little parts. So I was pretending to fight, I was using weapons, I was firing a bow and arrow, and the bow and arrow really caught on. The orphan kids loved it. They were all firing bow and arrows back at me. It was great. By the end of it, I was just so tired.
It's hard to stop those things.
Yeah, it is. And then when it went after the dancing, it turned back into a serious bit about let's talk about the Lord and, you know, oneness and unity and metaphysics and our obligations.
And they all had invisible bow and arrows.
Yeah, and I was pulling stupid faces as well just to keep the vibe going because I'd won their attention by now and their trust, and I didn't want to ruin that. So while some of the monks were chatting about the Lord and whatnot, I just was monkeying around.
There's a video of that somewhere without the context of the children. It's just you going, oh yeah, God and that.
Yeah. So that's why dancing with children is to be undertaken with a degree of caution. It's not like you see on a film where it's a girl standing on a man's feet dancing, you know, that one.
It's good, though, if you're is shy of dancing, the child bridges the gap, because you can just...
Yeah, be with a child.
Yeah, that's all right. But it's worse to dance at a wedding. Like, what I hate is when you're pushed up to dance. Like, I can dance when I'm ready.
Yeah.
But if it's too premature, especially if I don't know the song... Yeah.
I'm not good at anything prescriptive at all.
Any sort of, this is the time we have fun now.
What?
Don't like it.
No, I don't like it. I'd rather not be involved. Now, let's do a news story and start thinking about how to wrap this up. Do you want to hear about a poo bus? I feel like we've talked about it a lot.
We talked about poo a lot.
And I don't think it's good for us, Matt. I think it drags us
it does link
down.
in with... the poo bus does run on poo, so it's similar to your thing.
Okay, well...
But I think they want it to be called a bio bus.
Well, let's respect them, but we also have got to read the article. Britain's first poo bus, which runs on human and household waste, goes into regular service this month. Powered by biomethane gas, the biobus will use waste from more than 32,000 households along its 15-mile route. How? Operated by First West of England, the bus will fill up at a site in Avonmouth, Bristol, where sewage and inedible food waste is turned into biomethane gas. The bus, which can seat up to 40 people, was unveiled last autumn. Well, I think that's fantastic, actually. I mean, it's a very positive thing, and these are the kind of solutions we have to look towards, but it's hard for them to clamber past the poo bus image, isn't it?
Why did the word Avonmouth make you go, ugh, and then you said sewage and didn't react? Because
Avonmouth, I really could envisage that, like as a sort of a
lady's mouth.
That image is, I find, alluring. An Avon lady, sort of a bit milfy, no offence, a bit of a sort of a saucy aunt comes round trying to sell you some hand cream. You don't get Avon ladies now. Didn't your mum be an Avon lady?
She did, yeah. That's when I got bitten by a dog. She palmed it off onto me.
What do you mean she... Oh.
Well, she said, go and put this through that door. And then me and my sister ran to the door. An Alsatian. Oh, right, what was the thing? It was like an Avon booklet with some lipstick or something, I don't know. And then I was running to the door, and my sister stopped running and turned the other way. And I thought, this is easy, I'm winning the race. There's a sound of like a chain being pulled, and an Alsatian bit me quite badly.
Whereabouts on the body?
On the thigh.
Oh, mate. How old was you?
I don't know, 6, I reckon.
Oh.
But I had to have stitches and stuff. It was bad.
Plus, child labour laws were breached.
Well, of course. I mean, I tried to sue. The dog guy, when they told me, I think I've told you this before, they said, they sat me down and went, that dog had bitten other people as well and it's been put to sleep. And I just felt good.
Did you? You didn't feel
care.
any compunction or
No.
like that poor dog? You felt...
I was upset. I hadn't watched the whole thing. Wave him off.
You'd like to have been in the gallery watching the...
It was a horrible dog. He was all like grizzled and he was jumping up on his owner and like, oh, he's never bitten anyone else before. And he had all blood down his T-shirt from the dog. And I remember thinking, that's my blood.
Your blood all spattered up a bloke's front.
Yeah. And then I was scared of dogs for most of my childhood.
I know, you still moan about it, don't you? Well, what we've come to there, Matthew, is something by way of conclusion via a ramble, but to make some sense of it all, why don't we turn to a man who's been doing rhyming for money all his life and is not about to stop now. And also, as a side note, and in fact a centrifugal point, this poem can be won by the person that's given the best contribution to the show, the best email, the best jingle, best whatever. I'd like to say it's probably me, with some of my chat.
Well, you've done a lot of work, but I reckon, what about that policeman?
Let's give it to that copper. Let's send him, because he said that he'd really love it. What was his name? Pete G?
Yeah.
Pete G, yeah.
Pete G, a poem is coming to you.
My brother.
Pete G from Painting, your brother from a different kind of mum. G is going to send you that poem, and here is the poem that you, Pete G, will be sent. A summary of the show. Mr. G, everyone.
This poem's called Waste Not. We all have a part to play in recycling. As today's fossils form tomorrow's fuel, so even the elements of our decay can surely help to recreate life's future diamonds. Yet we all share the same cells. We all emerge from the place where the crumpet dwells. So on an organic level, community spirit can excel, unless it gets corrupted by legislated paper and metal. So dance, dance wherever you may be, whether it's in an ancient holy temple or playing pranks on Hookie Street.
Yes, Mr. G! He's stitched back to Fools and Horses. That is coming to you, Pete G, policeman.
Yep, should we all sign it?
I'm not signing that, not for policeman, not after that point. No, of course, we'll all sign that together. Do you feel okay about the show, Matt?
Yep.
Ups and downs,
There's
ups
a
and
few
downs.
things maybe that need...
Well, I used some hate speech.
Use some hate speech. I think I might have said something odd. I can't remember, but I've got that feeling in my tummy that I've done something wrong.
I think that's just your basic personality.
Thank you.
Brought to you by Audio Boom.